Today we're doing something I like to call active listening, and what I mean by that is it's essentially when you've heard a song before, but you've heard it and it's not necessarily actually intently listened to it, and with the process and the desire to break it down. And that's what we're doing today. We're taking Elton John's "Your Song," which came out in 1970, which is actually the year. Sorry, I hope she doesn't get mad for saying this, but the year my mom was born, which is like to me is like that's crazy. And that's the beauty. Not that my mom is old; she's very young, and I acknowledge that actually. But it's amazing to me that music can stick around like that, if that makes sense. In the sense that I gotta backtrack in case she sees this video, because I'm not saying she's old, but in a world where music is here today and gone tomorrow, and especially with the music that is being made, I would say in the past 15 years, a lot of it is made and is really popular for a year, 6 months, 2 years, and then it completely fades away. So then you have these anomalies of music and these songs that have been around at this point, for 53 years. And it's like, man, I want to write a song like that, where like 50 years from now, 30 years from now, 20 years from now, 80 years from now, people are still listening to it. People are still putting it as their wedding song, or all these things, and it's still being played at weddings. For example, I had to learn how to play this song about years ago. I was auditioning to be a part of a wedding band. I actually didn't make the cut. Crazy looking back on it, but it was a blessing in disguise because it pushed me into different avenues. But so I had to learn how to play this. So like that means people are still playing it at weddings. People still know the words. It's 53 years old, So that all being said, I do find that pretty remarkable. So today I've heard it before. I can't say I haven't, but we're actively listening. Really have the lyrics pulled up on screen and really listening to the music and kind of breaking it down. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. I appreciate you taking the time to check it out. If you're not new, thank you so much for coming back. And let's see what we got. Elton John, classic, Your Song. Nice stereo.
It's a little bit funny.
Very stereo.
This feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. I don't have much money, but boy, if I did, I'd buy a big house where we both could live. If I was a sculptor, but then again, no, or a man.
One of my favorite lyrics in this song is that whole concept of if I was a sculptor, but then again, no. And it's like just the cool. It almost shows the serious, you're really getting insight into his thought process, and that's essentially what songwriting is. Most songs never break the fourth wall, and what I mean by that is you never acknowledge. Often, you don't necessarily write that this is a song, and I feel like sometimes when you do this, now obviously, here he does. In a couple lines, will say, "My gift is this song, and this one's for you," but often, like let's not even talk about this like that for a sec. What I want to say is that like sometimes when you acknowledge that it's a song, it's like it breaks this wall where like before you acknowledge it, if you don't acknowledge it's a song, it almost sounds like it feels like you're just kind of reading and hearing a journal entry or hearing the thoughts of somebody. But then when you say it's a song, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that this is music. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like the fourth wall of TV when you don't the cast doesn't acknowledge that they're being filmed, and then if they do, it's like, oh wait, you're like, you forget that you're in this world, right? So that like that line right there, if I was a sculptor, but then again, no, is like really just kind of brings you into his thought process and like this, like you remind it like you're in his world, Production wise, let's talk about it. We have the stereo piano, very stereo piano actually. The low end is pretty far on the left ear. The higher frequencies are more towards the right. Have an acoustic guitar in the right ear. There's some sort of bass going on. I think I heard some sort of like in the left. Bass is typically in the center of the mix, but I heard something in the left ear that almost gave me a vibe that it was like an upright bass. I could be wrong. I'm but let's keep listening.
Who makes
oh, and there's strings.
Travel and show. No, it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, and this one's for you.
That acoustic is so far in the right ear.
And you can tell everybody this
Another acoustic over here.
It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in the words how wonderful life is while you're in the world.
That's cool. Okay, let's talk about this really quick. Musically, again, we have like some sort of horn. It sounded like matching the melody there, which was cool. I don't remember the strings being this loud in the mix. I'm actually really surprised with how forward, bright, and loud the strings are in the mix. They're not in complete competition, but they're a little close to competition, I feel like, with his voice. That's but I've never noticed that before. Now, but it's funny how, like, intently listening, you're like, oh wow, this is interesting. You just hear all the little intricacies. It's like, oh, that's surprising. I didn't know that. I didn't hear that before. So it's cool. It's cool personally for me to see this stuff and learn from it. And I just can't believe it's 53 years old and we're still talking about it, man. Like, that's awesome, you know. The panning is so huge, though.
Sat on the roof.
Wow. Okay. So this is the era, I guess, in music when they did extreme panning. Because now when you mix a drum kit, you mix it typically like if you were like hold on. There's two ways to mix it, and I'm trying to remember which way most people do. It is mixed as if you were the drummer. Okay. And what I mean by that, because there's two ways. It's either you mix it as the drummer. So, and I'll explain what I mean by that, or you mix it as the audience listener. So, you're at the drummer. Where's the hi-hat? Well, typically the hi-hat is on the left-hand side. I'm sorry, no, you mix it as a listener. I'm sorry, you mix it as, I got it backwards. So, as a drummer, to most drummers, the hi-hat is on the left-hand side and the snare is on the left-hand side. And then the toms go like this. The ride cymbal's over here, I believe. The crash cymbal's over, I think the crash cymbal's over here. And the kick is in the center. So when you mix as the listener, you actually flip that and you slightly pan the hi-hat to the right, slightly pan the snare to the right. But then again, most tom rolls go like this. So I'm still working that detail out. I always, put the hi-hat and stuff over here. But point being though is like we have the snare and hi-hat very far in the left ear. And if you listen back to like 60s and 70s music, sometimes panning was so new back then that they just put like the whole kit in the left ear. And it's a very funny thing, like we don't do that anymore for sure. But it's, it's just the time period,
Kicked out the moss, well, a few.
Yeah, it's so far panned.
Well, they've got me quite cross.
Guitar, nice.
But the sun's been quite kind while I wrote this song. It's for people like you that keep it turned on.
There's a lot going on in here.
So excuse me for getting, but these things I do.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. I don't know why these lyrics are not following the thing. It's a glitch in Apple Music. I use Apple Music when I listen to music, and this is the lyrics they put on. It should be following. I don't know why they don't, but this is there's a lot going on. It's a lot of arpeggio, a lot of I'm hearing like two guitars. I think like a harp going on. We've got the strings. I want to say it's an upright bass that we're hearing in there. There's a lot going on in here, which is really interesting. What's really interesting about this is how much is going on, but how much we still pay attention to and know the words. Because you would think with how much is going on that it would actually take away and be distracting from the lyrics, and like it'd just be a lot to comprehend, right? But I have heard this, a good amount of times, and I'm just surprised at how much I know the words and the lyrics and recognize them, while also realizing how much is actually going on, or not realizing how much is going on. And I'm surprised, that it didn't take away. I just find that really cool.
You see, I've forgotten if they're green or they're blue. Anyway, the thing is, what I really mean, yours are the sweetest eyes I've ever seen.
Eyes, is a cool word, rhyme.
And you can tell everybody this is the song. It may be quite simple, but
minimal reverb on the voice.
Done, I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind what I put down in the words. How wonderful life is while you're in the world.
Hear that melody matching the voice?
I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind.
Love that melody change up.
How wonderful life is while you're in the world.
So this is written by Bernie Taupin, which I'm reading here. Is John, his co-writer, Bernie Taupin, touched blah 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 blah. So I guess this is his co-writer that wrote this track. Wow, what a co-write to write on. What a phenomenal track, man. Really a classic. But it's not even a classic like it's like, oh yeah, that's my mom's song. You know, like in their generation. Like, this is a beautiful song that anybody in any generation can appreciate. One that I definitely appreciate. And obviously people are still like, I mean, Ellie Goulding, if you're familiar with her and her music, she's a cover. Like, it's just a popular song, and I don't see it going anywhere. Which is a pretty remarkable feat as a songwriter. I admire that tremendously.